everyone. Welcome to another episode of our Newport Yarn and Fiber podcast. I'm Kathy.
I'm Mary. And Kath, where are we today?
We're in Newport.
There's a surprise. And that's a big deal for us because we're actually from New Jersey.
Yes.
So these episodes take a little bit of planning when we come here, but we're always expanding to our Newport Yarn and Fibers, and we're always coming up to Newport to restock.
Right.
And that seems to be the quiet time that we can always carve out to record,
plan, move where we're going, like what direction are we going in, that kind of thing. It's I got a puppy, dog-free zone. Newport's the dog-free zone.
So this trip, we actually, are you too hot in the sun?
No, I'm good.
All right, a cloud should roll by in a minute. We've spent a lot of time trying to position the camera just right, but we'll get into that. Let's talk about planning this trip. We started last February with the intention being coming up here with our husbands, well, first not with the husbands, for the Newport Audrain Concours car show, which starts tomorrow,
Right.
Thursday. Oh, we should say this is October 2024.
Right.
And I think it's October 2nd. So the concours starts on Thursday. And I rented a place, definitely for Kath and me. And then the guys, our husbands, thought sounded like fun. So, okay, they could come because we can make room for them. And then Kath got the puppy, and it's fine because it's pet friendly. And I was bringing my two Cavaliers anyway. And then, like 3 weeks ago, I got an email saying that the Airbnb we were renting is for sale. And these photos were a little more clear. And after, I'm like, oh my God, there are spiral stairs that I can't get the dogs up and down. And you have to walk through Kath's bedroom on the second floor to get up the spiral stairs to the third floor, where it was just like, this isn't gonna work. So then we rented another Airbnb, and we have so much to do here that honestly,
Right.
the husbands would
And the
be
puppies.
The husbands are worse. They'd be more in the way. There's no way the four of us, even though it's two decent sized bedrooms, each one has its own bathroom, it just wouldn't work.
No.
So Eddie was very happy to stay home with the puppy because they're little buddies.
Yeah.
It took a little more coaxing to get me to leave John home. But thank God he had two trips. He was on business trips. He was in Dallas, and then the next week he was in Minnesota.
So he was tired.
I waited for him to be really tired, and I said, oh, you could really use a break. Why don't you just stay home? And this worked out because John's going on a cruise with us in 2 weeks.
Yeah, right.
And Kath, where's our first stop on the cruise?
Newport.
So that's
So
in
we'll
2
be
weeks.
back in 2 weeks.
So this is why right now our online shop is closed, because we do have to restock. We have lots to show you about our yarn today, and we thought it would be a fun time to kind of tie in our yarns a little more with the Gildedage HBO series that I think season 3, I don't know, maybe January it'll come out. But right now you do have 2 seasons you can enjoy, and all the Newport clips are really pieces of the Newport mansions with a different spin on them. And we usually record our first day here. Shall we recap a little of our first day here yesterday?
No.
It was a do-over kind of day.
Yes.
We tried so hard. We didn't have a great first night.
And pretend it didn't happen.
We had a kind of slow, roughish first morning, and yesterday was way windier. So we got out of the house maybe 11 and tried to set up here, tried to set up there, tried to set up there, tried to set up there. I'm on the verge of crying.
Well,
so
and there's always wind here because it's by the ocean, but there's wind and then there's wind.
I mean, yesterday's breezes like that could have been left over from the hurricane
maybe.
that just hit Asheville so badly. Who knows? But it was beyond, like there's a little breeze today. We hope the ocean sounds nice behind us.
Right.
We're on the cliff walk, kind of in the middle part of the cliff walk, I would say. We wanted to share some ambiance with you guys, but we're going to try to take our time today, and we'll start here and introduce our new Thames Street blend of yarns, and then over the next 5 days that we have here, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so 5 or 6 days.
Yeah.
We're going to go around and try to highlight some of the Gilded Age things and show you where our color inspiration comes from, where we can.
Where we can.
It's a rather busy week. We were not anticipating so many people coming prior to the concourse beginning.
Right.
So even some tours that we wanted to do, like in the breakers, are sold out. But
Right.
we'll be back in January, so we could.
Well, we originally wanted to film the introduction of this episode at the Elms. It's not open.
Elms is closed until, was it December?
It was a long time.
I mean, they could be filming. Oh, hello! Look at this little guy.
Oh, what a
Hello.
happy puppy.
Maybe you'll see him in the background. What a beautiful dog.
Always happy.
Yeah, that's great.
So there's so many people walking on the cliff walk today, which middle of October. Can you beat the weather?
It's gorgeous today. Gorgeous.
Yeah, we're not big hot summer people.
No.
So we don't even want to deal with the traffic coming to
But
Newport in the
even though
summer.
it's sunny, like I might look like I'm hot, but the breeze is like cool
And dry.
So it's like perfect.
Yesterday, I think, was a little more humid too.
It was, but
I-
it looked like it was almost going to rain at some point.
At late afternoon, we actually did set up in King Park. That was kind of an easy ride for us. And helicopters,
Oh, yeah.
motorcycles, and we can insert a little clip maybe at the end. Bloopers, like yesterday was an entire blooper
Yes,
day.
yesterday was a blooper day.
The good thing about that is the day after a blooper day,
Has to be better.
so and we're already doing much better.
Right.
But everything, including,
Sleeping better.
well, yes, we did sleep better. Would you like to share what happened when we decided to not record at one part of King Park and we started to drive away?
Oh, I forgot to close the back of the car, and the yarn and everything's falling out of the back as
So
we're driving.
the car is so packed. We have not gone to Knitting Needles yet to restock, and we have to restock at Friendly Harbor, and we have displays and all kinds of stuff.
And it's packed.
We were so proud of ourselves packing to come because it was an overwhelming pile in my driveway. But we had such a good plan. We were
Wow,
we were
perfect
trained
Jenga.
well.
Boom, 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 boom.
Our mother and
Oh,
grandmother
awesome.
could pack a space so perfectly, so we
Yep.
did inherit that from them. But when that trunk opened up, when that trunk was open,
I couldn't see that it was open.
because it's so full, we look like the Beverly Hillbillies like driving around. So, oh my God, I was like, oh God. So we turned around and nothing got run over.
No.
She stops the car, we're gathering.
What's that beeping?
And we're
that
thinking,
beeping?
it's the seatbelt. Are you like,
Hang
is it
on,
like
man.
a
Are
sensor?
you in? We're in.
And Kathy's like, oh my God, the trunk is open. So, but we survived. We're resilient.
Yep.
And so it was a bad day, but today's much better.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
we decided to come here at this part of the cliff walk. It starts on Memorial, and there's, what do you think, about a mile and a half or so where it's beautifully paved.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And you go behind a lot of the mansions, you go behind the breakers. A lot of that was rebuilt after Hurricane Sandy, so it's a beautifully paved, easy
Right.
to walk area up until the backside of the breakers. Actually, and I'm having trouble seeing it, but Anglesey is a beautiful mansion that you cannot tour. It's privately owned, and it's got the beautiful gazebo in the
I'm gonna
back.
point.
Okay, thank you, Kath. And the
There it
first season, thank you, Kath. The first season of the Gilded Age, when Larry Russell goes to Newport for a party that he was invited to, and at first Bertha Russell doesn't want him going because he just got home, and then he says Carrie Astor's going to be there, and she was all for him going. That party was filmed right on that lawn.
Right.
And again, we will go around where we don't have to set up and get a little bit closer to some of these things. We did get into Marble House yesterday. We filmed a little bit in there, a little bit in the breakers. Could not get into the elms.
Yeah.
Although the color inspiration for the elms is really from the exterior.
It is. It's the grounds, it's the gardens, and the conservatory.
And we have so many pictures from past visits that we might be able to insert.
Put
So
one
we'll
in.
make it work, and we'll make it fun. And that's going to be nice to drive around.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Do these. So here we are.
Yes. So the new yarn is Thames Street.
If you've been following us, you might not, because this is a new version of the Hugs Through Shrugs channel, where we have a number of more episodes and the whole journey of getting to this point. But we started out with Bellevue Avenue, which is all of our Gildedage skeins are double hanks. So you get 2 skeins of yarn. And one is always a sparkly one that has 411 yards. And then the other skein is always a fingering weight textured yarn. Bellevue Avenue is the biggest halo. It's the heaviest of the 3. Then we introduced Ocean Drive, which has a slub, and it's got more of a shine to it because there's no halo. And then we have brand new is Thames Street, and that's a alpaca silk boucle, and it takes the yarn beautifully. It creates a very nice fabric. I finished a sample. So we should say too, another part of this episode is going to be some of our samples for a workshop that we are putting together, and it will be available through a video link. So subscribe to the channel or follow us on Instagram, and when that video, we're real close to...
You guys watching TV or putting on a show?
We're putting on a show, and you were just in it. You're famous. You'll be the turning point to make us famous.
For all the knitters.
Oh, well, thank you so much. We were just about to show this. This was done in our Marble House colorway and our Elms colorway. So we are Newport Yarn and Fibers. So check us out. And you'll hear our conversation.
Maybe we'll see you again.
We sure hope so.
Well, have a great day.
Such nice people here.
Yeah, I love Newport.
This is why we love Newport.
Yeah.
Like yesterday
great.
was a bad day. We should have talked to more people. It was just you and me.
Yeah, we had so much, you know what it is? We have so much to do, and I think we were just trying to squeeze like everything into the first day instead of just saying, wait a minute, let's just enjoy the podcast.
Yeah.
Let's get to Michelle's, and that's it for today.
And after a bad night's sleep, like that was a lot on us.
A lot. So now today's way better. Look at that. Look at how much nice people we meet. And
God, and all the nice people walking on the cliff walk. You cannot not be so happy. The cliff walk is so unique. We're in New Jersey, so we have the Jersey Shore. And I've had a house there for, I guess, 30 years, right close to 30 now.
a long time.
Between the condo and then the house. So we're always by Seaside Heights. My house is at the entrance to Island Beach State Park. And the Jersey Shore is beautiful, especially when we would walk into the state park and you feel like you're in a different world because you don't see any houses. But the cliff walk is this beautiful walking path where you have the ocean on the side of you and beautiful mansions on the other side and manicured properties, and it's just...
From where I'm sitting right now, I'm looking right at the lawn on Rough Point.
Oh, you can see Rough Point.
Yeah.
I have trouble with my vision. Half the time I'm surprised. Because I'm in the shade, I don't have to put the sunglasses on, but I lose my vision in bright light, so Kath is my eyes. And the cliff walk, we started to say that starts at a street called Memorial by the Chandler, which is a beautiful inn, and you go all the way to behind the breakers, and at Anglesea you lose the beautiful path and it becomes a little rockier. This is a gravel path next to us, but there are areas where you kind of have to rock hop a little bit. They're flat. I've done it once. And then there's path behind Rosecliff, Marble House, the Tea House, and a little beyond that it becomes all rock. Like behind Rough Point, it's rocky terrain. And we'll go there too because we're going to film a little bit behind Rough Point. That's one of our colors. And then we'll go, I don't know how much we'll get behind Land's End and the Whim, and then Seafair, which is Jay Leno's house. He's on Ocean Drive, not the Cliff Walk, but the Cliff Walk actually goes behind all the ones I just mentioned, all the way to Land's End and the Whim. It's, I think, 3.5 miles total. I shouldn't say that. It's probably on that path sign that's right there. But it's a long, beautiful walk. And there actually are some YouTube videos where people wear a GoPro and they do the whole walk. So sometimes when I'm home, if I'm walking on my treadmill, I'll put one of those on and I'll pretend like I'm walking the real cliff walk.
Yes, so, it's really unbelievable in the winter too. It's very cool.
So I think we read in a book one time that this cliff walk was during the Gilded Age. Servants would go from house to house with messages for the other owners. But it was here before the Gilded Age. They think Indians may have started this
carving the path.
We think. so much to learn, and we love learning about Newport's history and the people, which is why we keep adding colors.
Right.
But we said, before those nice people asked what we were doing, Thames Street now is the boucle. And I did this sample. I still have to weave in some tails because I finished this last night. This is Marble House in Elms. This is a Tunisian crocheted pullover. Kat, do you want to pull that sleeve out? So I added a collar to it. You could drop that. And this is a sample of what our workshop sweaters are. It's a side-to-side garment. This one's more like a poncho. We've got a 3/4 sleeve cardigan. We've got a pullover, long sleeve sweater, cardigans, 3/4 sleeve cardigans, bell sleeve.
It's a recipe that works for all of those.
And you become the designer.
Yeah.
So we call it Designed by You, and we just kind of share step by step how you can make your own sweater. Right, Kathy, you've done a couple of them now.
I have, and the best part about this recipe is that since you're starting, let's say, with the sleeve, and then you're doing the shoulder, you can put the sleeve on to make sure it's the right length. Make sure, do you want it a little longer? Keep going. Then you do the shoulder. You put it on because it goes from here all the way to the back. Is that how much you want for your shoulder? Then you drop for the front and back. You go, and like as you're going along, you can try it on so that at the end, it's going to fit.
And you've done a couple different styles.
I have. I did a cardigan and I did a pullover.
In Tunisian.
I did a pullover in Tunisian and I did the cardigan in knit stitch.
Yeah, well, that was a stockinette.
Stockinette.
And then you added a beautiful, you started with a cuff, right, on that one?
I started with the cuff, then I did the sleeve, the same thing, but at the end, I left a little extra space in the front because I knew I was going to pick up all the stitches all the way around to add a collar cuff that goes around the edge that goes all the way around.
Okay, it really came out nice. And we will show that when we take you to Hunter House, because you did that in Hunter House.
I did.
So we have
Hunter House, Ocean Drive, and then the edging is in Bellevue.
Oh yeah, I forgot you.
So I
both.
used two different yarns.
Two different textures. And we'll when we're going around, we'll bring the different samples. We cannot get into. We did Marble House yesterday, so we'll show you that in a clip. But the Elms is closed. But that's these two colors, and this is Tunisian crochet, and this is what it looks like in Tunisian crochet. And I guess we could show the colors.
All right, so first we have Beechwood.
So Beechwood is, again, Carolyn Astor's Newport mansion that you cannot get inside, but we can show you clips. We tried to get it from the side of Marble House a little bit, so we can show you that. So that's beautiful, Carolyn Astor.
And then we have Bellevue.
Belcourt.
I'm sorry. We have
Belcourt.
Bellevue.
Which,
that's okay.
It is on Bellevue.
It's on Bellevue.
So this honors Alva Vanderbilt, the first woman to live in the house. Harley Tinney, who lived in the house longer than anybody. She was there with her husband and his family for 50 years. And the new owner is Carolyn Raphalian, who bought the Belcourt Castle in 2012, I think. Now it's called Belcourt of Newport. She's restored it. All kind of environmentally friendly upgrades, like how it's heated, and she's done an impeccable job restoring it. And she's got some of her own collections in there. And Carolyn Raphalian is the founder of the Alex and Ani jewelry line. She's from a Rhode Island-based family of jewelers, and her new jewelry line is Metal Alchemist. And she owns several. She has a bar and board on Thames Street, or it might be America's Cup over there by the harbor, a restaurant, and she's got a winery in Rhode Island. So she's got quite a number of businesses here, and she's beautiful and young and strong, and we just love to.
Another strong Newport woman. And this is Belcourt and Thames. I just finished, that's why I think I said Bellevue. I just finished knitting a sweater in the Belcourt Bellevue blend.
You did
like 2 days ago.
You did Kimberly McAlinden's levitating cables
I did, yeah.
in our City by the Sea Aran week.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
And We're going to show that at some point.
Yeah, oh my God.
We
it
have
came out
to.
So good. All right, so.
And we
let's
love
see.
Kimberly's patterns. We've done a few of hers.
This one is the Breakers.
Alice Vanderbilt, the most famous mansion, and these are the colors she chose for the family crest.
Then we have the Elms.
Oh, we love the Elms. This honors
The
Julia
Elms. I'm sorry we
Berwind,
can't get in there.
sister of the coal man. He was a coal magnate, Julius Berwind. His wife passed away early on into owning the Elms, so his sister Julia moved there with him, and she was the hostess of the house. And Julia was there into the 60s, still with her servants and living the life of a Gilded Age woman. So
Yeah.
that's
I
Julia.
love these
We
colors.
love the Elms. I
Love
wish
the
we could
Elms.
take you into the
I
Elms,
know.
but we have pictures.
And then we have Hunter House, which this is the color I did in the combination of Bellevue and Ocean Drive.
Yeah,
The sweater. I'll show you later.
It really came out nice.
So
That's Hunter House.
beautiful.
That honors Catherine Warren, co-founder of the Preservation Society of Newport. And if it wasn't for Catherine Warren's work, none of these mansions would probably be available for tours. The first house they saved was Hunter House. Neighbors came and told her they were going to tear down this beautiful colonial home, and she got friends together and they generated enough funds to save it and restore it, and then they built on from there. And now the Preservation Society owns all these mansions, Elms. They saved the Elms the night before the Wrecking Ball tore it down. Elms, Marble House, Breakers, all these properties, Isaac Bell, all of them, because of the work that Catherine Warren did. So that's her color.
That's Hunter House. This is just Jackie.
Jackie Kennedy. And we chose these colors because of her wedding bouquet that she carried when she married John Kennedy at St. Mary's Church on Memorial. And we will take you guys, it's on the corner of Memorial and Spring Street, and we'll take you guys by St. Mary's Church later as well.
Then we have Land's End.
Land's End. This honors Edith Wharton. It's a newer color to our collection. We brought it in last spring. And Edith Wharton was a novelist, and she had a beautiful mansion at the end of Bellevue Avenue. And I guess The Age of Innocence is her most well-known story.
And I have a sample done in this one.
Oh,
in
yeah.
Tunisian.
That came out really good.
And now we have Marble House.
Alva Vanderbilt's other mansion here in Newport. This was her original mansion, Marble House. She built it right next door to Carolyn Astor's Beechwood, and it was the big talk of the town. It had electricity, and the marble is over the top, ornate. Might not be as big as the Breakers, but it is extremely high quality, beautiful. The marble is everywhere. It's stunning. We recorded there yesterday.
We did, so we definitely have some of that.
And then after she divorced Willie Kay, this is also, we have footage of her tea house where she had the suffrage rallies to fight for the vote, for women to have the right to vote. After she divorced Willie Kay, she married Oliver Belmont and moved into his mansion practically across the street. So she has two.
And then we have Rough Point.
That honors Doris Duke. She's at the end of Bellevue Avenue, and the color inspiration is the property, and we'll take you guys by that. Our shawls are available in the Rough Point gift shop.
Then we have Seafair.
Seafair honors Mavis Leno. Jay Leno and Mavis purchased a beautiful house, considered to be the last of the Gilded Age mansions to be built. It's called Seafair. It's on Ocean Drive. It's stunning. We cannot, unfortunately, get inside, but we honor Mavis Leno through the work she has done. 30 years she was on the Feminist Majority Foundation's board, fighting for, she specifically spearheaded the rights of Afghan women and girls, and 30 years of her life she put into that organization, and this is their logo colors.
And then we have the Whim.
Our newest edition, the Whim. So the Whim originally was on the property of Land's End. Land's End is on the ocean. It was 8.5 acres when Edith Wharton owned it. And when Marion Oates, Leiter, Charles. They called her Oatesy. When Oatesy purchased with her husband Land's End, they lived there for a couple of years, and then when her husband passed away, she didn't need all that, so she sold off Land's End but kept the gardener's cottage and I think it's an 8-car garage, and a few years later combined the two and made it the Whim. And then when Victoria Mealy, who is Marion Oatesy's only daughter, when she, a few years later, she was able to purchase Land's End back, and she and her husband owned Land's End for 30 years. So now it's back in the family. This family has the whole 8.5 acres. And when Oatesy passed away in like 2018, she was 99 years old. She was a Washington, D.C. socialite. She knew all the famous politicians at the time. She rubbed elbows with JFK, was good friends with Nancy Reagan. When the Reagans came to Washington, she was one of the first to welcome them, and they hit it off instantly and were lifelong friends. She was friends with Ian Fleming, who wrote the James Bond books, but there were other novels before that. And JFK, they were talking, she mentioned she was reading his books, and when he was interviewed by, I think it was Vanity Magazine, they asked, what do you read? He mentioned Ian Fleming, and Ian Fleming's books shot to the top, and he actually honored Oatesy and her husband by naming one of his characters, Felix Leiter, after Oatesy. And he really appreciated that shout out because his books were famous. So she's got a great story. A little bit of her life is included in the story card. We saw an episode on a YouTube channel called Homeworthy, where Victoria brings us into the Whim, and she says her favorite part is the garden, and she takes us outside. The plans to this garden are in the Smithsonian, and Victoria says, my hydrangeas, no garden's complete without blue hydrangeas, and she's got them scattered all over the property. So our color inspiration comes from blue hydrangeas in the garden that Victoria loves so much. So that's our new color.
Yeah.
And we really like the space too.
Oh yeah.
It's been nice to work with. So those are our colors. And
we also have Ida Lewis.
Oh yes. So Ida Lewis is so new.
Right.
We only have one skein of it. It's in the car somewhere. We tried to
with all the rest of the yarn.
Kath hasn't even seen it yet.
No.
But we're going to tell you a little bit about Ida Lewis too. She was it's a different spin. These are brave women, strong women. And originally our 6 were women from the past. But there's been a lot of strong women from Newport, like we added Carolyn Rafaelian, who's current. We added Mavis Leno, current. Catherine Warren, who, kind of a in-between period. Gildedage wasn't quite Gildedage, but she was still entertaining and living Newport lifestyle. And I think she passed away in the 70s. It's in the card. I can only remember as I get older certain things. And look at Oatesy. She just died a few years ago. So it's kind of morphing a little bit.
Right. Well, it's the strong women of Newport who affect, society, the world.
And Ida Lewis, she was not Gildedage and a prim, proper lady. She was her father. So we're going to show you her house. That's right on Spring Street. And Ida Lewis lived there till she was 12 years old when her father got the job as lighthouse keeper. And it's between, actually like where Michelle's yarn shop is, that lower Thames and Fort Adams, where Ida Lewis's lighthouse is. And she was named in her lifetime the bravest woman in America because of how many lives she saved. Mostly soldiers who would go into town and drink, and like their boat would tip over or whatever. She was always saving people. When Ida's father took over as lighthouse keeper, shortly after he became very ill, and she picked up a lot of the slack. And she had to row her siblings from the lighthouse to land every day, all seasons, so they could go to school. She was incredibly strong, named America's Bravest Woman, made more money than the other lighthouse keepers, and they were all men. So she made way more money than them. That card is not typed yet. The color is
it's
there.
on its way.
And we'll probably introduce that in like a month or so.
But and a lot of these women, most of these women are strong women who broke society's norms and really with like helped to bring like the suffragette movement and
Our right to vote.
Yeah, our right to vote. So like they really helped to bring women to where we are today.
Yeah.
So they were significant in our history, all our history.
Yeah, a lot of our freedoms are because they
Right.
fought for us, including, depending on who you hear give the tour of Marble House. In the old days, in the wintertime, it would be tour guides. So each
Right.
person, I would go to all kinds of tours just to listen to their different spin. Sometimes they portray Alva out to be really like in a bad light. But she watched her husband cheat on her for years. And when the kids were grown, she divorced him. And yes, she got the mansion and she married a friend of his. But this friend, when she'd be at the casino watching tennis and he's schmoozing with his friends and she's sitting alone, he would talk to her. They were on a ship together at some point traveling. She didn't deliberately do this, it just happened. That was the love of her life, and they didn't even have that much time together. Maybe 12 years they were married. So she wasted a lot of her life on a cheater, and I think she was one of the first to divorce in that class. Good for you. You know?
Right. Yeah,
Ida,
not going to
Ida
spend
Lewis.
her life with somebody she didn't love and suffering.
She
But-
deserved better.
Yeah, Ida Lewis doing things that only a man was expected to be able to do and stuff like that, but she saved people's lives, you know.
Yeah.
So these women were really stepping outside of their norms during
Yeah.
their day and helping others. And like the current women also stepping out of, you know, their comfort zone to help others, whether it's through charity works or, you know, just they dedicated their lives to helping others, and their strength is something that it seems to come from this location. Like a lot of them, this is where they made changes for us.
Yeah, which is wonderful. Thank goodness. So that's we're always that makes 12 for us. We have 12 colors when you add Ida Lewis, and we rushed it so we can introduce it now because we won't be back till January, but the yarn will be available before January.
Right.
So we'll do another episode from home at some point when it's dyed and ready to go. But that's 12 for now.
Yep.
And 3 bases of the Gildedage double skeins.
And I hope that you're going to enjoy the inserts that we have for you. We're going to be, like we said, taking some location shots and showing you where the color inspirations were from. So
yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun for us, and we
Yep.
have lots of days to do it, and we'll learn our gimbal, so we it's not too jerky as we're moving around.
yes.
And that's it. So
All right. Well, we'll see you in a bit.
So we're in the breakers, Kat, and as you could see, a lot of this is in Bertha Russell's house in the Gilded Age, and here, Kat, hold the yarn by the stairs. A lot of our color inspiration is in this room. Let me see if I can get this way. And this is the dining room. Look at that.
Heading over to Marble House, we will take a look at the color inspiration that we use to honor Alva Vanderbilt. This is her beautiful dining room, and it is just breathtaking. And the fun thing about this room is when you come in here, all of this marble looks different at different times of day, and it's really just over the top, indescribable. Here's a portrait of Alva on the way to her morning room, or more really like an office for Alva. She was very busy and she did a lot of her planning in this beautiful room. I've always loved the ceiling, especially that beautiful ceiling. So beautiful. And then we'll head on over to the Gothic room, where poor Consuelo was proposed to by the Duke of Marlborough. And Alva had many very valuable collections that she kept in this room. She displayed in this room. And it's really something. And then the gold room is just over the top. It's like a ballroom. And the night that they opened this, when Alva had her first ball in here, people were so eager to see it because they had blocked off from the road so nobody could see what they were doing. But on that night of the ball, they turned on the electricity and everything just sparkled, and it was really something. And here you have the beautiful entry hall. Again, just over the top. And here is the room, the Lilac Fantasy Bedroom, where we got our color inspiration from. What better room to honor Alva than the room where she slept and had her dreams, and I think she accomplished many of those dreams. And again, depending on the time of day you're in this room, the color changes a little bit. So we think this angle here, you could kind of see where our lilac color came from. And then we'll head outside. So from the back of Marble House, you could see Beechwood, which was Carolyn Astor's mansion that you cannot tour right now. All this land was purchased by Larry Ellison, probably in around 2010. He bought adjoining property too that he is totally refurbishing and turning into what hopefully will be open to the public someday. But Carolyn Astor, they say Alva Vanderbilt kind of wanted to one-up Carolyn Astor, so she literally bought the property right next door to Beechwood and built the elaborate marble house to kind of one-up Carolyn Astor. But again, both houses right here, Carolyn Astor did not build Beechwood, but she did add her ballroom onto it. And they're both just spectacular homes. And back in the corner of the property, overlooking the cliff walk, is the beautiful Chinese tea house, where Alva would host suffrage rallies fighting for the right for women to vote. And she would raise money by allowing tours to be given inside of Marble House. And now the Preservation Society of Newport County has restored the tea house, and it's open for light snacks and refreshments right here overlooking the cliff walk. Let me start with the sweater. For the sweater workshop, this is the pressed flowers pattern that we converted into what we call the work play pullover. This is one of our patterns, and we've done it. We started out in the knit stitch, stockinette stitch with borders, and we used to teach this in our shop that we had years ago. And when we've worn garments constructed like this to Rhinebeck, we've had compliments. So we decided to take this schematic and turn it into the pressed flowers stitch pattern. And we are outside of Jay Leno's house, which I used Seafair and Just Jackie to make this pattern. And behind me is Jay Leno's house. And that's about as close as we can get. But we will insert some good videos. There are drone. When that house was for sale, Sotheby's had a really good video of the whole house. So you can look on YouTube for that Sotheby's tour of Jay Leno's beautiful home. It's gigantic property. Seafair was built in 1936, and that thing got really wiped out in the hurricane of 38. They rebuilt it, but the people who built the original house, there's a tour bus, maybe they think I'm a tour guide. The people who built this house after Hurricane of 38 built a new mansion inland more. So they wound up selling this, and they built a new mansion, and that's it over there. So that is Seafair, and now we're going to take you to Land's End and the Whim.
So this is part of the cliff walk. That's the real rocky, kind of where you have to rock hop, and Rough Point's way down there around that corner. And this is where Land's End and the Whim are. And because they're private, I'm doing my best to try to get some footage, but it's so beautiful back here. We're gonna pull up closer to the house, and Kath is gonna show you her beautiful Land's End sweater.
Okay, this is the Land's End sweater, and this was also done in our Tunisian crochet, and we did it with the pattern recipe that we came up with for our workshop, where we started from the sleeve and worked across. I think I mentioned that in the earlier part of the show, and you can add on to make it larger by just doing another section of 5, because it's based on sections of 5. And this is a pullover. I made it a little longer in the back.
Hold your arms up, Kath, so we can see. See, it's a nice boxy fit.
Yeah, nice and cozy, sit around the fire, that kind of thing.
And hopefully behind Kath, Land's End is back there.
Yes, so I hope you can see it.
We're gonna try one last drive-by, try to shoot it from the
car window.
Kath, that looks perfect. I love it. Okay. Up here. Let's see. Here's Ida Lewis's house. There's her little plaque. Here's the Newport traffic. Today is Audrain Concours begins, the big car show, and there's a cruise ship in town. So getting around has been hard, but we just got Ida Lewis's house from the car, and that is St. Mary's Church, where Jackie Kennedy got married. And if you ever look at video footage, the corner where they take all their pictures is coming up. Let's see. So the corner where they take all the pictures was right here. Right here. So at least we got this for you guys. So JFK and Jackie were married on September 12th, 1953, right there at the corner of Memorial and Spring Street. More than 800 guests attended the ceremony, and Jackie wore a diamond bracelet that JFK gave her. The reception was held on the 300-acre oceanfront estate Hammersmith Farm, owned by Jackie's stepfather, Hugh Auchincloss. And later, Hammersmith Farm became more well known for being the summer White House when JFK was elected as president. So here's Hunter House, located in the Point section of Newport. And this is the first house that the Preservation Society of Newport County saved. Catherine Warren co-founded. The organization at the time did not have a name, and they pulled their funds, she and her friends, to be able to save this house from being torn down. And Kath is wearing the sweater in our Hunter House colorway, and I will let Kath tell you about it.
Yep, I used our recipe, started at the sleeve with the cuff, which I used Bellevue for the cuff, and then I used Ocean Drive for the sleeve. Then this is where I said you pick up the stitches for the front and back, split for the neck, picked up again, went across, and the rest of the sweater's knit in the knit stitch and Ocean Drive.
And Kath, hold your arms up. This is a more fitted sweater. Perfect.
I made it angle, so all I want to do is put a button here, and it's just going to angle open. I haven't put the button on yet.
Came out so good. And Hunter House is located right on the water. So you got Goat Island in the distance, and this is just another beautiful location in Newport.
Here I have a sample I just made in our City by the Sea Belcourt colorway. This is a pattern by Kimberly McAlinden. This took 4 skeins. It's available here at Knitting Needles. And it's a really fun pattern to make. I love this color. And it's in the we based this on the music room in the Belcourt mansion.
So here is beautiful rough point behind us, and this is our rough point color inside spin cycle that we used for the border around the flowers. So this is our Beechwood on Bellevue stitch pattern that we again used to make the sweater from our workshop. This is a boxy cardigan actually that I laced closed and made it like a pullover. So. Apparently they are doing some filming right now at the Elms for season 3 of the Gildedage, which is very exciting, but disappointing for us because we could not take you inside. However, the first time I saw the Elms from the road, from this angle, I fell in love with this house before I even got inside of it. But you might be more familiar from season 2 seeing it from this angle as it becomes Bertha Russell's summer cottage in the Gildedage. Beautiful grounds, not ocean front, but you can see the ocean from the top of the house. So many scenes from the Gildedage are filmed in the Elms, even in season 1, including the kitchen at the Elms, which is the kitchen in the Russell's New York City mansion. So you've seen many scenes already filmed here. This is Gladys's bedroom, which is actually the bedroom of Hermione Berwind, who was the wife of Edward Berwind, who built the Elms. Our all-time favorite room and the color inspiration for our Elms color is the conservatory. This beautiful room with all these big windows. Open up the windows, the breeze blows in, there's a fountain in this room, and you feel like you're outside even though you're inside. And this room is where the day after becoming very drunk, when he was forced to break up with probably the first love of his life, Larry Russell and a friend of his are in this room, and Bertha is not very happy with them. That's again in season 2, and our color inspiration for the beautiful Elms. So before we start the wrap-up of our podcast, we could not get near the Elms because town has been crazy, but in this sweater, I used 4 skeins of spin cycle as the border around each flower, and the Elms in Bellevue Avenue are the flowers that you see. This is another version of the sweater that we will have in our workshop. So we want you to take 1 minute. We are here at the corner of the harbor. And Kath and I will tell you a little bit more about it when we settle in for the wrap-up of the podcast. So this is the one last sweater we wanted to share with you. Wrapping up our week. Tomorrow is Sunday, and we're going to go home tomorrow. We have a very full day today, which was unexpected, but we worked really hard all week. Our week turned around and had many, many positive things happen, which was a big surprise to us after
The big bust.
After the slow start. So let me start by explaining, Kath, where we are.
We are sitting at the corner of the harbor, and actually, it's so neat because that's actually the corner, the end corner, and Michelle Brennan's yarn shop, Knitting Needles, is right at the end there. So the back of her store, the parking lot, pretty much butts right up to those condos that you see. And that street along there is where Kath and I started our week. That is Wellington. And that's where the trunk opened up way down there. And we was it Hansel and Gretel dropping the breadcrumbs?
Yep, breadcrumbs.
We just followed the yarn and sample sweaters down and picked them up. So that was on that road over there. And we picked this location because Ida Lewis, which is color number 12, which is at home. It must be at home because we've hunted.
We've looked all through the car and we can't find it.
And I know I dyed it, and I know couldn't wait to show it to Kath, so it probably rolled off at home somewhere. But we will insert it, so you'll get to see it here. And Ida Lewis was a lighthouse keeper. We did take a picture of her house, so we'll insert that around here somewhere. She lived in that house until she was 12 years old, and then her father became the lighthouse keeper, got very ill shortly after, so she kind of took over, which is what we talked about already. But this area, way back when, there were no condos here. There were a lot of bars here, like Lower Thames, there was more places for the soldiers to come from Fort Adams, which is this way. They would row to town over here, visit the bars, and or have trouble just navigating the waters back. It could have been current sometimes. It could have been whatever. They miscalculated. And she saved many soldiers who were rowing back from this area back to where her lighthouse is. And hopefully I'll be able to find maybe a little map that shows exactly where the lighthouse is, but it's over in that area somewhere. So we thought we would record in the area of where Ida Lewis saved so many people. There was a wooden walkway constructed from Wellington taking you right over to Lime Rock, so the lucky people who are now part of the Ida Lewis Yacht Club actually get to see the beautiful sunsets here on Narragansett Bay, that the same beautiful sunsets that Ida Lewis spent her whole life enjoying every evening. And when we were reviewing our color palette of the 11 prior women, we realized we needed some orange in there, and we think that the beautiful orange in Ida Lewis's beautiful sunsets really filled the gap of a colorway that we were missing. And the next thing we'll be talking about in the next episode, we should have our workshop live. And all that's going to be is you buy 2 skeins of our yarn, and in the notes say that you want to participate in the workshop, and we'll send you the little toolkit that we've showed you before, and in with your schematic for the formula, you'll also get the bit.ly link. And we're planning this with Michelle because she really wants to bring the workshop to her shop, but she gets a lot of tourists, so they can't commit to like 3 or 4 mid-long sessions.
Right.
But we would like to guarantee anybody who does the workshop at least 1 or 2 private Zooms at their convenience. I don't care if it's one
in
person.
case they have questions.
And sit and work things through.
Right.
When we did something like this in our yarn shop 12 years ago or so, ladies would buy the yarn. We did the Einstein coat, Sally Melville's Einstein coat, and it's really just garter stitch. But what we did with the embellishments and shaping turned it around. So you buy the yarn, and every Saturday from like 12 to 4, we'd sit around the table. If you couldn't be there, it didn't matter. It was not a technique class. It was just like, what do you ladies think I should do here? Or what should I do here? So it was really just a brainstorming sessions.
And community.
More than a knit along, because you're brainstorming.
Right.
So supporting each other and coming up with ideas or whatever. So that's what we really would love this to be. And if it takes off where we have 5 or 6 people at once, it could be multiple weeks in a row at a certain time, but that might be too restrictive.
Right.
So to start with, you get the schematic, the formula, the video that we've done already, and then I think we'll add on there one private Zoom that we pick a conducive time,
Right.
where you and I could be with the person.
Right.
And maybe in the future, if we could figure out a way to do it, a live Zoom from a yarn shop.
Oh, that would be.
So like if Michelle
something
had
we
3 or
think
4
about.
locals in there and we're in New Jersey, if there's a way to set it up, we could talk with them. So we're working on ideas, but
Right.
I could barely text and figure out like Venmo and things like this. So technology is not a strength, but
No.
we're trying. And we don't mind falling on our faces, failing and telling you that happened, because that's just who we are.
Yeah. Well, we just keep trying.
And look, it worked.
Yes. Yeah. What a week. What a great week.
So I think, Kath, I did write down things, but I think that without even looking, we just organically
covered
covered
everything.
everything, right? Look at my
think
big
so.
black writing, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, I can't read it without my sunglasses, but I think that wraps up our episode.
It does. So I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you again soon.
A couple of weeks, we hope. We're shooting for once a month.
Yes. Yeah. And we'll let you know how the cruise goes. Okay. All right, everybody.
Thanks
Take
for
care.
watching.
Bye.
Bye.